The Ready for a Relationship podcast helps people just like you who find themselves single and alone in their later years get unstuck and break the pattern to move forward and build the loving relationship you expected to have at this point in your life. Discover how to build your relationship with confidence in a fun, easy, loving way so that you are the right person for your right person. And if you enjoy the show and want to share some love, subscribe, rate, review, leave a comment. It all really helps. Here's Suzanne, the host of your show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to an easy, fun, lovin' podcast. I'm your host, Suzanne, and we're here today with Carley. Welcome, Carley.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's so awesome to be able to speak with you. As one of my first podcasts, I want to introduce everybody and let you all know that I just want to provide a really nice, warm, comfortable, safe haven where we can have some chats. You can listen in. We maybe have a cup of coffee. I happen to have mine here. And just get a feel for letting you know you're not alone. And Carley has been gracious enough to come on today and be one of my first guests. And let's go through this, Carley. All right. So first, tell us a little bit about yourself. Are you working? Do you have a business?
Yes, yes, and yes. Thanks for having me, Suzanne. I'm an artist. I actually been doing interior design and art the interior design for the last 15 years, art just in the last 5 or so. So I get to express creatively. I've always wanted to do art, to be an artist. Of course, I grew up in the era of, you can't possibly be an artist, you'll starve. So I'm giving it a whirl. So that's been lots of fun. I have, as you know, been divorced twice. I have 3 kids from the first one, which are awesome young adults. And I don't know, what would you like to know more about?
Well, take us back a little bit to your divorce or divorces. Tell me a little bit about what was happening and how you felt.
I was 22 and got pregnant, so it seemed like the right thing to do was to continue with the relationship. So we did. We had 2 more kids. We spent 16 years together, and we did the best we could with what we knew at the time. Raising kids is a busy time. Trying to build careers is a busy time. And then when you kind of stop and look in the mirror, and then you stop and look at each other and go, wait just a second. This isn't what I thought this was all about. And we decided fairly amicably that we were going to part ways. It was tough on the kids. For me, it was, I knew day one, our first date. They say, oh, you fall in love and these are your soulmates and you're always going to be together. But we had a lot of differences, and we actually weren't even together when I found out that I was pregnant. So we didn't really start off maybe as your typical romance. Pulling apart, it was more to support the kids, to be there for them, to try and, express to them that all was going to be okay. They were going to be okay. And then instead of taking time to discover myself, because at 22, I was trying to figure out who I was as an individual, who I was as a mom, and who I was as a wife. So I was a bit lost. I felt like I had this big hole to fill, and I just wanted somebody to love me. So I hopped back into another relationship thinking that was going to fix everything. And it certainly didn't.
Uh-oh.
It was a very good eye-opener. It was a great lesson in self-worth. And it really opened my eyes to a lot of maybe pre-programming that I'd grown up with, things that I thought I should be doing, certain patterns. Anyways, that one did not last. but all, I don't regret any of it. It's all great learning. And now I'm at a place where it's all about rediscovering. I feel like I've just come out of high school and I'm learning all about what I want to be in life. Just a little later.
That's awesome. That feels pretty good, right? Just
Yeah.
coming out of high school, like you've got the world is your oyster.
Exactly. Yeah, you bet.
Well, Carley, this begs the question. You know this. You're laughing. You're looking really confident. Tell me about the process that you needed to go through. You've got, first of all, you were divorced, and then you said pretty quickly you were in another marriage. Then you were divorced again. How long has it been, and what's the process that you went through?
Well, I'm still in the process. I think we're always in the process. It's been 3 years since my last divorce. Lots of reading, lots of kind of self-help books, lots of time spent with friends. There's been definitely a little bit of counseling in there, and just being open to not shitting on yourself, being okay with, this isn't a very fun time. Initially, right after, I was definitely in the victimhood, stuck at the level of, why me? Why does this happen again? Why can't I make a relationship work? And I took a lot of responsibility for a lot of it. So there was some shaming. There was a lot of unhappy moments. And then kind of as I got out of the victimhood, I owned up to, my role in it. I looked at his role. And just, I don't think there's an A plus B equals C in a lot of this. I think everybody's very, individual. For me, I wasn't confident. I was a people pleaser. I still am a people pleaser. I don't like conflict, just like anybody else. So I often would say, yep, no problem, no problem. And I didn't know what a boundary was. So learning boundaries and being okay to sit in those, and just really discovering, as an artist, I've never really sat in this is what I want in life. This is where I want to be. I never had real hard set goals. So I kind of just went with what came my way. So sitting back and just kind of rediscovering life and trying to stay in the moment, try not live in the past, not worry about the future, and not thinking things should look a certain way. They look this way now, and that's okay. And I'm good with it. So that's a bit of a mind bender, and to actually live it is different than saying it. It's easy to say this stuff, but it's a whole different thing to live it. And I struggle still. I still have moments, I think we always will. There's always stuff that comes at you.
Wow, Carley. If anyone was taking notes, it's like, oh, is that all?
That's little. That's not much.
Wow. I go back. Everybody listening, don't should on yourself. That was one of the first things that you said, right? Yeah. And what were those shoulds? What were you saying to yourself?
Well, I grew up with and I don't know where this came from, but I grew up thinking, oh, you have to have the house, you have to have the white picket fence, you have to have the dog, the kid, the cat. There's this whole package that, we're all working towards. You have to have a career, you have to make a certain amount of money. So it seemed like I was always on this perpetual waiting. Well, maybe it'll get better, or maybe, the job will change, or maybe I'll feel differently. Like I'm constantly waiting for something to change or to be better. So it's a real practice. Again, just going back to the here and the now, and life goes up and down. It's not just a perpetual, incline to something better. It's all good. It can all be bad. It can all be good. So wrapping my head around that, and just, again, it goes back to, old beliefs, old programming. This is what success looks like. Well, So I did a lot of, there was a lot of shaming because I didn't look like everybody else. I wasn't doing the same thing. So it's been interesting. It's interesting just observing. I like the term observing, not judging. Everybody's on their own journey. So just observing. And I think for me, the biggest shift has just accepting. I don't have to be anyone different. I don't have to do anything different. I don't have to be anywhere else. It doesn't, you still are, you're still yourself in whatever four walls you put yourself in. So just surrendering to that and accepting that this is my life. These are my lessons or growth or however one wants to look at it. And being happy in it. We have a choice to be happy or we have a choice to be a victim. And I say that because I played that. I was a victim. Oh, woe is me. Why does this keep happening? But when you flip that mentality to, no, this is my life. And I love that, being an artist, I love to say, I get to design how I want it to look.
Aha. In fact, you get to design how you want your life to look too,
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
And that you can create a new norm.
Yeah. And it's okay. It doesn't have to look a certain way. Like we're so, there's so much coming at us that you have to weigh this, you have to look this way, you have to eat this way, you have to read this stuff, you have to follow. Like there's so many things we follow that we feel like we should be doing. And certainly there are healthy ways of doing things and maybe not so healthy, but we're all different. And I've just really come to understand there is no right or wrong in all of this. There's no handbook. I'm pretty sure I didn't get a handbook when I was born. And if there is
no
handbook
on relationships. No handbook.
I'm waiting for it. It doesn't come in the mail.
No handbooks.
No handbooks.
No, but there's a certain amount of pleasure when you get the freedom to figure some things out yourself, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, who wants to be told all the time, this is the way we do it?
Yeah.
And this is the way it has to, right. Mm-hmm. It's the way we do it, this is the way it has to be. Well, no, thank you.
No. Let's
create something different.
Yeah.
So tell me now, as far as relationships go, where are you poised? How do you feel about meeting a man?
That's a great question. I'm still on that journey. I think, and I'm still kind of in the waters of sorting out. I've had a lot of years of practicing just falling under the umbrella of somebody else. So I'm still practicing and trying. I call it I'm feeling my way through life. So I'll go and try something and then I'm like, no, I don't think I really like that yet. So as far as meeting somebody else, I think once you get solidly rooted in yourself, all that's a bonus. Do I want to commit to just one and ever get married again? Right now, I don't think so, but I don't know. Who knows? So I don't know what that actually really looks like. I think it can look differently than what we say we need to do. I don't at this time feel that I need to have a ring on my finger to know somebody loves me. And I don't need
to. Now hold on a second. That is growth right there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't need, did everybody hear that? I don't need to have a ring on my finger to prove I'm lovable. I'm loved.
No, I don't think that we need to have this sense of possession. I think there's a lot of expectations that we put on each other. And I think there's a lot of enmeshment out there. I know for myself, I definitely, did that. I think if we're healthy, independent individuals, everything else is a bonus. Everything else is a bonus. And it's easy to say, it's really hard not to jump back into habits of expectations. Well, you should do this for me, or how do I know that you love me if you don't bring me flowers every day? Or like we have a lot of pressures on ourselves, but we put a lot of pressure on those around us that we love. And I think, I mean, I'm not a guru, but the biggest eye opener or experience or growth is communicating and being vulnerable. Don't be afraid to say how you feel. And it is frightening to say how you feel. I was a very quiet child, believe it or not. I didn't say much. And so expressing oneself is still scary. It's still a little scary. I think
you're learning your voice though.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. You nailed it. I didn't have a voice. I didn't have boundaries. I didn't have a voice. And I didn't have the confidence to say, you know what, that doesn't work for me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be here. And you can do that very pleasantly. It doesn't have to be unkind. You can say, you know what, this just isn't working for me. Thanks so much. Or whatever the situation is. And I still kind of sometimes get quivery. I can feel it. I can hear it in my voice. And I can, you get the hearts racing a little bit and you feel like a jackrabbit. And I'd rather just run the other way. But what great practice to be able to stand in who you are. We're all we're all brought here to be who we are instead of hiding. I spent a lot of years hiding.
Wow. Something tells me, I think my listeners are going to agree. Not anymore, right?
Not anymore. No.
Not anymore. Okay. No. So tell us, being your own strong, confident self, what would you say to listeners would be the main things that they could do to step into their own power?
I think you need to listen to your, if you want to call it intuition, your gut reaction. We spend a lot of time in our head. And I think when you start connecting to your heart, your body gives you indicators all the time. Why are your hands sweaty? Why is your heart racing? Why do you feel nervous? Mm-hmm. And we do a lot of shutting down. That my second marriage was a real eye opener to that. I had a lot of, if you want to call them red flags or indicators that, maybe this isn't quite the right thing. And I ignored them. And it was interesting looking back on that. There's a lot of things there that I knew that I shut off, that I didn't want to listen to, or I didn't want to, I guess, stand in. And that's why I say now I'm feeling my way through life, because I'm trusting myself. I'm trusting my intuition. I'm trusting what my body language is. If I'm somewhere and I don't feel comfortable, I'm not afraid to stand up and say, hey, nice to see you guys, or I gotta go, or whatever. I think that would be my biggest.
For those watching this on video, my hands are in the air. I am now happy dancing for Carley.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is no easy feat, Carley. Congratulations. And we are all a work in progress.
Yes.
Our lives are an exploration and adventure, right? If everything was perfect, how boring would that be?
Exactly. Right?
And the strength you figure, even when we encounter things that we're not really fond of going through, mm-hmm. when we find some strength or some power in that, we feel fantastic, right?
Yeah. Trusting yourself and just trusting others. I think that has been, and again, I still, I wrestle with that one a little bit still. But to be able to sit in that and know it's okay, whether it feels good or whether it doesn't, it feels bad, or wherever you're at. One thing I've told my kids growing up, the world is your playground. It shouldn't be something you have to endure. look at it as fun. Whether you're enjoying it or not, you're going to get something awesome out of it. It's just a matter of perception and how willing you are. You know, if you're going kicking and screaming, it's not so fun. If you look at it from a different perspective, it's a whole different outlook.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I'm just so excited to hear this, because the whole idea between these podcasts for the podcasts I wanted to create here is that we help people feel empowered. And Carley, you definitely give us that feeling. And thank you. And I know there's going to be many people like myself even who are going to want to rewind this.
It's awesome.
Say, I got to listen again. Oh, heck, I'm just going to put it in my podcast when I go jogging.
Awesome.
And I'm going to re-listen to this because I'm feeling empowered just talking to you.
Oh.
So let me tell you, you may have days where you feel like, I'm still a work in progress, but you are an inspiration already to others.
Well, thank you. I have definitely had others inspire me. So to be able to give back is awesome.
That is amazing. That's what we always want to do, right? To give back and also be welcome to open to receiving.
Yes. Yes.
That's important too. So be open, Carley, to receiving all of life has to offer you, right? All the surprises. Right. Yes. You never know what's in store, but pre-anticipate it's gonna be good.
Good, exactly, right?
Right.
And every time when you stop and think about whatever you're doing at the moment, I practice that all the time. What am I doing right now? And usually it's awesome. Whatever it is.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you for asking me.
I'm so excited. You're one of my first guests.
Me too.
Thank you. You've been awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so listeners, if you like what you're hearing, I do have a free masterclass for you on our site. You're going to learn the 5 steps to really be ready for a relationship after a divorce. Totally free. You can go to www.readyforarelationship.com and just click on masterclass, and that is there for you. And I am wishing you all some easy, fun loving. And remember, you are never alone. So if you like this, tune in again for the next podcast. Thank you, Carley. We love you. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Here we are at the end of the podcast, and you just got some Suzanne loving. If you got value out of this podcast and you want to spread some love too, subscribe, rate, review, leave a comment. And who was it that you were thinking about who could also be uplifted by it? Share it with them now. Catch you next time.